Hello and welcome to the SC Ballers podcast. I'm your host and coach of the Terrace crew, Matt Ricks. We are live today on YouTube. Very happy to be live streaming, and joining me for all the action ahead of round 19. It's former third place overall finisher and coach of the Casa Bonitas, Danny Boy Ricks. Danny, how are you, mate?
Yeah, g'day, Matty. Pretty good. Not as good as you, obviously, this week, but
What's that?
You've joined the club. You've joined the top 10 club. Well done. What is ninth place overall. This is extremely good for the baller debut year.
Yeah. It's my highest ever position. First time in the top 10. Little Nick Meaney play Saturday afternoon helped those matters. And I don't think I've ever had three more successful trades on a single weekend. It's left me a bit naked for round 19, but we'll take round 18.
Unbelievable. I think I was calculating it on the weekend. 320 points from three trade-ins this week on a major buy round. It's just unheard of. I think I had Jahrome, Hughes and Kane Bradley come in this week for a combined total of about 90 points. So not as successful as me. I didn't lose rank. I actually gained a couple of spots, 1300th. Still chasing you boys. I'm fourth in the baller contributor league overall. Just got Tubes behind me. So yeah, it'll be tough to catch you boys though.
I don't think we can count Tubes in that league anymore. He's run home man only now. He didn't make any trades on the weekend, just all in prep for the run home challenge. We'll get to more of that. Later on. Also joining me tonight, it's coach of the CMac 86ers and former top 10. He's had a few red arrows lately, though, unfortunately. Still in the top 1K, though. It's coach of CMac Shark Attack. No, CMac 86ers, Chris. All right, mate.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Going well. Yeah, look, it feels like death by 1,000 cuts for my season. At Magic Round, I was up there in the top 10, feeling really, really good about myself. And since then, it's just been red arrow-itis non-stop. So I'm down to 404, but feeling pretty good about where my team's at. So I feel like I can settle and hopefully go back up the rankings for the back end of the year.
We're recording this live about 45 minutes after Team List Tuesday has dropped for round 19. How is the team list? How's it fared for you?
Look, a little nervy. Obviously, I expected Munster not to be named. There's some Origin backups that I'm sure we'll go into a bit later. Panthers all naming their stars on the extended bench. So it's a lot of wait and see, I think. We've probably got to see how Wednesday night falls. But apart from that, not a complete disaster at the moment of 19 warm bodies, but we'll see where that lands.
That's pre-trades?
Pre-trades.
Yeah, okay. I'm 17 warm bodies pre-trades, so I'm going to need to make probably two. I think I'll do two, just with the uncertainty around the Origin boys backing up. Oren Keeley is going to live to fight another day in my team, and just as well because we've got the watch along this Friday night with the one and only NRL Physio, who will be joining me and Tubes for the Friday night watch along for Sharks v Finns.
What a great crew! Because the Physio is a Dolphins fan too, so it's couldn't have picked a better week. How good!
It'll be so good. And obviously, Dan, as you would know, the NRL Physio does a lot of live tweeting and keeping up with the current in-game injuries. So it'll be great to have him on our podcast, on our watch along. Being able to give live insight into those injuries as they're happening.
Yeah, Brian's absolutely incredible. Like the amount of games he covers and the speed which he gets the injury info out is just next level. I don't know how he keeps up with it. Like, he's great intel, great insight, really, really helpful for your SuperCoach season as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Can't wait to get the Physio and Tubes back on for Friday night. Tubes is over in Perth. I was talking to Tubes during the week. He's in Perth for work. He's managed to be in Perth twice for Origin this year. And the only time he wasn't there was when the game was actually there. So well done, Tubes, on some excellent scheduling. Chris, actually, just while we're on Perth, Chris, you went to Perth for Origin and you got a bit of airtime on TV.
We got plenty of airtime. It was amazing. The phone absolutely blew up. I was carrying on a treat when Brian Tyler scored the first try. But, Origin night, that's expected. So, no, it was an amazing trip. It would have been nice if the Blues had got the chocolates, but wasn't quite to be. But, yeah, great trip. Really, really good.
Now, guys, we got a couple of exciting things going on at Baller Towers at the moment. Obviously, we've launched the Run Home Challenge, which we're going to drop a promo for that either this evening or early tomorrow morning. Get along to ballr.live. You cannot miss now joining the league. Just follow the links, follow the prompts. It will take you directly into SuperCoach to join the league. $7,000 worth of cash prizes, cold hard cash, none of this voucher stuff. $3,000 to the winner. Paying all the way down to 10th. It's going to be great fun. Starts round 20. You have until the end of round 20 to join. So you can even have a great round 20, join up at the end of it and still be eligible. That's just how the SuperCoach leagues close. But super excited to launch the Run Home League. Please go check it out. We also have the brand new player stats tables, which we're going to debut on the pod tonight. If you are watching on YouTube, you can get a quick sneak peek of it in there right now. We will be using that to talk to tonight, to be looking up all the good stuff. Base plus power averages, base plus power 3 and 5 round average, ownership stats. It's all there at ballr.live. You just got to go create an account, sign up while you're logging in to enter the Run Home League Challenge. Go and check out the player stats page up on the top right hamburger menu. It's got really, really cool deep stats, and we're going to be chatting a lot to them tonight. What else we got going on, Dan? The Young GI bet. You across that?
A little bit. Yeah, what is it? Try for Jahrome Shibasaki in Origin this Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right.
Loading up for the bets, and all proceeds going to the Mark Hughes Foundation.
Correct. So we're doing a bit of a drive to get our following up on socials. We appreciate everyone who's followed us so far across all our channels: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X. And we're just about to nudge 4,000 followers across the platform. So that's going to be at least a $2,000 bet on Shiba to score Young GI. And as you said, Dan, all the proceeds are going to go to the Mark Hughes Foundations. The Beanies for Brain Cancer round is such a massive success every year, and it was again last weekend. And it's great to be able for us to get involved, to try and get the Ballers name out there and to do it for a good cause, all on the back of our man Young GI. What an absolute legend. I'm still coming down from that footage that producer Gramsy got for us with our Young GI interview last week. So it's just unbelievable. So I said to the boys, I said to Chris, I'm gonna be cheering for Shibra. I love the Blues, but just get Shibra over the line. That's all I care about.
Yeah. I think Tubes
I'm not feeling
Tubes is in the works of producing his own documentary on the Shibasaki timeline.
The rise.
How good's
Young GI.
The rise of Young GI.
How good's the 30 for 30 going to be in a couple of years?
That'll be amazing.
Anyway, make sure you get followed. If you do follow us on any platform, we really appreciate it. But get and follow us on all platforms, and that helps get the charity bet up as well. And even if he doesn't score, we're going to be giving an amount. We'll figure out exactly what, but we're going to be making a donation to the Mark Hughes Foundation regardless. So it really, really helps push the Ballers out there. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and really looking forward to Game 3 on Wednesday night. But before Game 3, we got a lot of Team List Tuesday analysis to go through. So let's get stuck straight in, boys, to our positional analysis, starting at fullback. Let me just get the fullbacks up on ballr.live on the stats table. I'm just going to filter here by fullback. Okay.
Jeez, that easy.
That easy. Now, let's kick off, boys, with Dylan Edwards. He's not listed here because he has not been named. I think Dylan Edwards, none of the Panthers, that's probably just a good place to start. None of the Panthers Origin players have been named to back up. Whether that occurs like that, they're all in the reserves. Chris, let's just start with Dylan Edwards, presuming he does play. 647K now. I think a lot of people were really searching him out with a view that maybe Papenhuyen wasn't going to play after he's laid out last weekend. How are you sort of approaching the fullback spot overall and your feelings on Dylan Edwards?
Look, fullback spot overall, at the moment, I'm like most people, Drinkwater, Teddy, and Pap. If that Pap news wasn't so good, I was definitely going to be trading Pap out, but it was probably going to be for a halfback to go into my flex in Nathan Cleary. But looking at that run that the Panthers have over the next month, I'd be really, really comfortable throwing Dylan Edwards in for Pap if there is any question mark on that lower leg injury. I still haven't heard a great deal. Pap's obviously been named, But if Dylan Edwards gets through Wednesday night, that next month, I think they've got Parramatta, South Tigers, and Gold Coast. So they should score really, really well over the next month. So I'd seriously consider him as a bit of a pod move if you've got the trades.
Yeah, and the thing, he also might have the goal kicking there if Cleary decides not to kick
this week.
He's got the niggling groin injury. Alamotti is there as well. I'm not sure who'd be ahead in the Edwards versus Alamotti, but Edwards kicked quite well last year when given the tee. Dan, we're talking here about Ryan Papenhuyen as well in that context. Now, he obviously missed on the weekend, gave the opportunity to the one and only great St. Nicholas Meaney, king of the terrace crew. Could you still get around to any sort of idea with Pap selling, Dan? Like, does this calf niggle put any doubt in the back of your mind? He's got a break even of 123 this week, 664K. Would you be getting around that idea at all, or do you think Paps is just too vital while he's still goal kicking and the run the Storm have got?
At the moment, I actually sold Paps last week, so I think that was the time to sell if you're going to. I tried to maximize the points of last round. Kind of hoping he wasn't named for this week. Obviously, not knowing much about the injury coming into last week, it was a bit of a punt. I feel like you could definitely take on Papenhuyen with Dylan Edwards, but whether that's worth a trade or not, I'd probably say no. But if you didn't have Papenhuyen and you're thinking, oh, is he essential to have for the run home? I don't necessarily think so. I think there's now great options to take him on with Dylan Edwards, Trail Mitt at the back end of season as well. So, I think if you've got him at the moment, he's a great number this week. He's obviously got that 5-round average of 56 compared to someone like Dylan Edwards, who's even had Origin over this period and he's still punching out 70.4. So, I think what you boys are both doing, you still got him. Just hold on to him and go from there.
Yeah, he's projected 85 points this weekend, and then I think for next week they've got Manly at home, so that's another 80-plus projection. Those two fixtures is really, really great. We can see how his leg is. If he wasn't to play, Dan, like if he was to pull out, like that's probably with numbers this week, it's probably not the worst move to go to someone like an Edwards or even maybe even a Reece Walsh as a pod.
Yeah, well, you've got that flex as well for that third fullback as well. So
yes.
You can obviously look at Lomax, Jayden Campbell, Nathan Cleary if he backs up. There's so many options. So I know CMac talked about on the snap having the 3 halfbacks, 2 halfbacks and then 1 in the flex. And I've currently got that at the moment, waiting for Nathan Cleary to come back. So I'd be happy to run with that for a few rounds as well.
Chris, I just mentioned Reece Walsh there. Is he someone piquing your interest at all? He's 1.5% owned in the top 10%, so ultra pod. Obviously, Papenhuyen now playing puts a bit of a dent, but could you get around Walsh as a pod?
Yeah, look, if Pat was laid out, I'd definitely look at that trade. I think the Broncos play the last game of the round. They play the Titans, so he's got a good matchup. Looks like they've caught fire too. The Broncos, I think, have won 4 in a row. He's coming back from injury and looking pretty good. His last couple of scores have been really strong. He's looking sharp again. I know in warm-ups he doesn't look too sharp, but once he gets out in the field, he does. So I could definitely get around that one, especially if Pat was out this week, like a laid out. It's something I could definitely entertain and might even look at if that eventuates.
I think you'll get a pretty free run at him too because they got the bye next week. So, but this is really the fixture that you want him for, and you'll cover the numbers a lot easier next week.
Yeah.
So, that's a very interesting one. He's got a 3-round average, as we can see here, of 80 and a projected score this week of 69 versus the Titans. So, very good matchup, as you said. One I just want to talk about quickly, Dan. He's not playing this week. Tommy Turbo. -2 break even now, 13.4% owned. He repaid the faith in those who held on the weekend. Is he a sell or a hold now, given bye this week, then Manly's ultra tough run?
Ooh. Yeah, really tough decision, I think, for owners. Like, it looked so good on the weekend, his involvement, sweeping on the left side. I think you've done well. It's all about timing, isn't it, the SuperCoach season? Like, you pick up Turbo at the right time, which is probably last week. The holders like myself, I think you had it as well. I think all of us maybe had Turbo through that initial buy period. Didn't do very well. We just had to get rid of him for Tedesco, and that's turned out okay.
Yeah.
I think it would come down to a matter of cash. So if you're not flushed with cash, very easy to hold him. If you are absolutely flushed, you could probably go up to those, those super top tiers and just really push hard for this week.
Yeah, he did look really good. It's just that those fixtures are really tough. And playing at centre, he obviously had that excellent role as well, sweeping across to the left, set up a try for Garrick. So, yeah, it was no fun not owning him, but good to see the great man back in good form. Let's move down to the centre wing now, boys. And it really is premium season now at centre wing. I'm a bit annoyed my boy Sir Nick isn't starting at fullback, but that's okay. He will make bulk cash now with a break even of -42, but obviously not a buy for anyone in the market for a centre wing. The one I want to start at here, Christopher, is Mark Nawaqanitawase. So he moves out to the wing. He's coming off a huge ton. He was the most popular purchase last week, now 58.6% owned. -3 and break even. Let's talk about him in the context of these other premiums here. So we got Jacob Kiraz, 741K, break even to 109. Zach Lomax, 694K. And Valentine Holmes, 695K. So we're talking about all these guys who are just under that 700 or just over in Kiraz's case. How do you line Marky Mark up against those proven guns?
Look, at the moment, I've probably got Kiraz and Lomax ahead of Marky Mark, but I would have him ahead of Valentine Holmes. I know Holmes is going to kick goals, but Marky Mark on the weekend, he just looked like the big kid in the under 8s at times. He's going to be a great ride. I'm very, very comfortable to hold him as top 4 or top 5 centre wings for the run home. The Roosters look like they're going to be a lot more competitive than they were at the start of the season. I think his move from centre to the wing is also a good one for his base. So I'm a very, very happy owner of Mark Nawaqanitawase. I reckon this week, looking at the break even is probably the last week you can purchase. After that, I think it's getting very, very expensive. So if you were to bring him in, I think this week's the week.
Yeah, I think that that's spot on. If you can see him in your side, I just don't know why you wouldn't have had him last week. For the point of that, I just think there are better options this week, to be frank. They just have a very tough fixture run. The game okay here is obviously they've got the Dragons, they're favourites to win that. He's got a good matchup there. I think he'll be coming up against who's on the Sione Finau, and we saw the Raiders heavily attack that right wing on the weekend. Xavier Savage went over for a try. KO Weeks wreaked a bit of havoc out there as well. So great matchup this week. I just think though, Dan, that Lomax and Kiraz are just such a step above that if you don't own either of those two, they'd be a priority for me. Unless you've still got a couple of moves to make it center wing and you feel like you can wait a week on either of those guys.
Yeah, as a non-Marky Mark owner on the weekend, that was such a tough watch. Like they were just feeding him the ball constantly on that right-hand side. I don't think he's going to get as many of those looking for Marky Mark as he on the wing. It's just harder to get out there as consistently, but he will get over for those softer tries in that as well. And I think probably a bit of base work out of the end, but it was just a dream matchup for him on the weekend against the Tigers. I don't see him as top tier like your Herbies and your Kirazes because I just feel like his base isn't going to be as consistent. But it's such a tough watch now because Roosters are definitely looking for him. I'd probably say it's very easy to pick up Kiraz and Lomax this week if you don't have them in your sides. Lomax has a bit of a tough run coming up. No Moses still. He does just get base and got the goal kicking, but I think you could take him on with some of the other options at centre wing as well.
Yeah. A couple of the guys who have been sold off, Chris, Billy Smith and Jamayne Isaako. I actually sold both these guys last weekend with all the moves I was making as things were changing. Could you get around to sell for either of them, or now that you've made it to round 19? I know people are looking for ways to get Mark in or Zach or whoever, but now that they're here, Billy might just about state his welcome.
Oh, I totally agree with Billy Smith. I think he's definitely outstayed his welcome. Unless you're in the precarious situation that they're in terms of trades and bodies this week, if you need him for a number this week, I think it's fine to hold for this week. But definitely, you want to be moving on to him onto a premium, for the run home. On Isaako, I'd be comfortable to hold Isaako. I really would. He hasn't scored any tries for quite a while. He's been kicking a lot of goals because the Dolphins are going really well. He's one who can really catch fire and go on a tear. So I'd be comfortable to hold. I know they've got a buy coming up in 21 or 22, I think.
21, yeah.
But yeah, I'd be comfortable to hold Isaako.
Yeah, well, I was a very reluctant Isaako seller. I had to sell him for a very specific reason. I bought in Rodwell for him to knock out LKT's 18 in my score. So I netted 45 points there, and it's freed up all that cash. So I could see the positives. But Isaako is a good own this week. He's projected for about 60, I believe. I'll get that up here in a sec. Let's have a look. Jamayne Isaako. Let's just search for him, shall we? That's probably the easiest. Yeah, he's in for 59.5 this week. And then they play the Cowboys next week. So just a really good matchup. Cowboys are basically the best team to be coming up against from a SuperCoach opposition perspective. So yeah, I'd be holding Isaako this week rather than probably moving to one of those guys. But it certainly does feel like a race to get your center wing set up at this stage. Dan, is there anything else you wanted to touch on just quickly on center wing structure or what kind of moves you're looking to make down there?
It's probably what we touched on a couple of pods ago around how many center wings do you actually need. And I think you're probably going to need enough in that seventh center wing position. I know now lots of people have like the likes of Lawson, who has turned into enough, Kane Bradley, and that's absolutely fine. And look, if you like the flair, you can definitely go 6 high premiums in the center wing. But what I'll be doing is going 5, or in my team, it might actually be 4 with Lucas as the premium who can swing down there. So I don't mind going light, particularly if you believe in your halfbacks and your 5/8s, because you'll be playing them most of the time. And a lot of people have a fair bit of bulk in the forwards as well. So you're probably looking at only playing max 2 center wing reserves in one particular week, and that would be when all your halves are on hard matchups. So yeah, just don't overstack too much in that center wing position.
Yep, I've got Rodwell there now, so he'll be my enough. And Nick Meaney is currently my 6th center wing. I think I'm just going to hold him now. He'll make cash. So, and if Paps does miss a week here or there, he's actually a perfect little stash as 6th center wing that then can plug in whenever he plays fullback. So, won't play him out of turn, but I think I'm pretty happy with that strategy. Or if he peaks at 650K, I can make an easy sideways move to a very relevant pod. In whatever week that turns out to be. So I think that's pretty good advice, Dan. Moving down now to 5/8 center wing. Let's get this up on the projections here. So 5/8. So top projected 5/8 this week, Blaze Talagi. Very interesting pod, Blaze, Dan. He's kind of been on the radar all year. Panthers with this juicy run though now. Is Blaze someone that you could get around as your second 5/8 as a pod option? I know there's actually quite a couple of nice little pods at 5/8.
Yeah, Blaze is an interesting one. You're never super confident that he's going to turn up. He can have a quiet game. I think it's a bit of a risky one, but the way it's going now, Metcalf gone down, there's a bit of options at 5/8. I just, at his price, it's very difficult to pick him up when Jayden Campbell is available this week for non-owners. And you've got people like Purdue who you can flip up to 5/8. You might not want to run 2 premium 5/8s. And that price of 555K is just probably a little bit too much. I think if he was sub 500, you could definitely be comfortable for this 4-game run they have, playing him over that period, and then just sitting as your second 5/8 for the rest of the year.
How would you weigh up someone like him versus an Ezra Mann? Would he interest you more?
Both similar prices, aren't they? I think Mam is the man for Broncos at the moment. Maybe that was a bit skewed because Reece Walsh wasn't there. But I think Mam and him have a great connection, and he's still going to be racking up those try assists. Great pod options. A bit of a flip 'em. I'm not sure who I'd pick in that scenario.
Well, according to the ball projections, Blaze 68.9 and Mam 61.8. So obviously Blaze with a good fixture. Mam has a good fixture too. So I think that's probably a base plus power thing. Mam does rely on a bit more on attack, but the Broncos are on the up, so that could improve. Chris, hard to not do a podcast this week about NRL Supercoach and not talk about KO weeks. He is coming off a score last weekend. He doesn't have a projection because he didn't play, but about 150 odd last week for KO. Scoring one of the tries of the year as well, burning about 6 tackle busts. 578k minus 64. He's in 4.6% of teams. He's in good form. Like he was a bit rocks and diamonds at the start of the year, but he seems to have found a bit of a, he's obviously not a buy this week with the Raiders on the buy, but is he someone that you could get around at some point in the coming weeks? Obviously he's going to go up to probably 700, 800k now.
Look, if your ranking's about, the 3,000 mark in and around that ballpark, I think he's not a bad option. He's going to have these weeks where he tons up. He's shown that. I think he's turned up 4 or 5 times this year. You're also going to get those down weeks. If you catch him on the weeks he catches fire, you're absolutely laughing because he's, not well owned. They've got a nice run. They do have the 2 buys, but look, he could do plenty worse because his price-wise, he's going to the moon. Like that was huge on the weekend.
Yeah, obviously now you're buying these guys and you're not selling. Like you're not really making moves.
You're not making two
moves
trades.
at 5'8". But
he's not a bad on matchups play for the run home.
Well, he's got exactly that. And if you're chasing rank or chasing head-to-head wins, he's the type of guy that can just get you that head-to-head win in a weekend. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have a bit more of it. I won't be buying him. Don't get me wrong, but for my team. But I don't mind it as a bit of a left field option for some of the teams. And it's never fun chasing last week's points, and potentially he could fall into that category. I can feel Dan through the screen. I know that's what Dan would be thinking.
I'm thinking what my cat is doing at the moment. Any live streams?
All right, boys, let's just get on. Let's get on to some of the bigger guns here. Jayden Campbell, he's back from concussion. He burnt owners with a 10, what seems like a lifetime ago, 3 weeks ago now. And then he's missed with a 1 week stand down into the bye. 564k, Dan, 102 break even. With Munster not named, this is a sort of a conundrum that a lot of super coaches are going to find themselves in. It does look like a 258 play is a little bit more viable now. I'm going to have to run LKT this week just with how it's all fallen, but I would probably have no hesitation bringing Campbell in for the run home at that price.
Yeah, it's very, very juicy. There's no problems. I have the predicament of having Jackson Purdue, who as well, because my intention was to play him as my second 5'8", but 555k for Campbell, or 556. I think he's right for the picking. They've got some decent games over the next 2. Broncos off the back of Origin, into Tigers the following week. They got a lot of Sunday afternoon games on the run home as well, which we know is absolutely gold for Supercoach. So I think if he's not in your side, if you don't have 2 decent 5'8s already, I think he's absolutely right for the picking.
Yep, I'm jealous I can't get him. Like in King Togia, 391k now. He had a very disappointing 18 on the weekend for the round when we needed him to turn up, which is, and now I actually need him to turn up even more this week in round 19. But no problems, Dan, moving him on either up or down.
No, not at all. I'm trying to move him on this week. I think he's going to be an AE issue against the Roosters this week as well. I was listening to the radio, actually. I was driving up trying to follow this Canberra Dragons game, but it seemed like he was being the link man at the first, the first off the ruck every time and feeding Flanagan to make the decisions and do the kicking. Really, really strange. I don't know. Flano just said, let's give Kyle the ball, see if he can.
It was a hard game. It was a pretty hard game. Like even though they came back into it, they were thoroughly outplayed for the first 60 minutes of that match, first 55 minutes of that match.
Sure.
And the Raiders is obviously there's probably not many harder fixtures at the moment than Canberra away. So look, he's still going to be a sniff for a decent score, but I think there are a lot of prevailing options at 5'8" now to either pot up or try to maximize points, like your Campbells. Even someone like Tanner Boyd, Chris, now, he's got a ball projection of 62.5 slotting in there in that halfback role for Metcalf. He looks like he's won that on merit. Probably a little bit of job security issues if they don't start well or if they were to lose this weekend. But 330K, how do you feel about Tanner? He's someone who we know quite well.
Yeah, look, I don't mind Tanner Boyd. He's filling into a side who's going really well. They're really consistent. They've got a pretty good run home. I assume he's going to come in and take the goal kicking as well. He's definitely a chance of. So I think that's another tick.
He will for sure.
So, look, you can do plenty worse. Like, if you had a Lincoln King Tongia and you couldn't get up to those, the Campbells or those kind of, or Mams, I'd have no issue with going to Tanner Boyd. I'd be very comfortable with it.
He does have a bit of a dicey record, Dan. When we've seen him at the Titans, he can throw in a 15 every now and again. I'd probably feel slightly more comfortable playing Tanner Boyd in a better team and with a goal-kicking floor than I would LKT. But the question there is that worth the trade?
I don't think so at all. I mean, I would be very comfortable playing Tamari Martin on matchups, and I have no idea why Tanner Boyd
if he was in the team
back over Tamari Martin. Like, what's he done wrong? Like, last year he was so good. Maybe I've got a bit of bias. I picked him up as my second in the draft league or something like that, and he's yet to start a game.
More than a bit.
But I've never been a Tanner Boyd fan as well. And from a SuperCoach perspective, like he doesn't get the work. He doesn't break tackles. He sometimes gets the goal kick. He's never averaged over 50 in a year. And I'm pretty sure he's had 2 of those. He's probably been the main goal kicker in those games. So I would be very wary at this time of year. Someone like Tanner Boyd, he might get you up to 500K, make you 100K or a bit more. But with squads so strong, I would never see Tanner Boyd in my top 18 of my squad at the moment.
Yeah, that's a fair point, definitely. I just don't think he's ever been in a side as consistent or as good as the Warriors have been going this year. He's always played for the Titans who have struggled. So, But no, I definitely see.
You can get a look at it. We can get a look at him as well. Obviously, we got 2 weeks to be first couple of games of the season, so we can take a good look. It's a bit 5'8" just feels like an important decision whether you spend a trade there or you don't, whether you go up, whether you go down, whether you go premium. It's just tricky because it's not a position that you would really want to play on a weekly basis, like Dan mentioned. So, it's I'm not going to worry about it this week just because I'm going to have to hold and pray on LKT, but come next week, it's going to be a big call for myself. Halfback now, gents, and this is where it is all happening. So Cleary, Nicho Hynes and Jahrome Hughes, both 69.2% owned in the top 10%. Absolutely dead level. Nicho Hynes been traded out by 1% of teams this week. Jahrome Hughes been purchased by 1% of teams this week. Nathan Cleary is back on the scene. 744K, 33% owned, 4.2% purchased, not named in the 7 jersey, is named in the extended reserve squad. New South Wales Blues tomorrow night, carrying a groin injury, which hampered his kicking. It'll be interesting to see if he kicks tomorrow night. The question is, and I'm going to start with you, Chris, how essential is it to get Cleary as soon as he is back? And talk me through some of the scenarios in which you would get him and some of the scenarios in which you wouldn't get him, and then I'll throw to Dan for the best options to sell to Nathan.
Yeah, right. So, it's Nathan Cleary. He's going to absolutely destroy you if you don't have him at some point. I just mentioned earlier their run over the next month. It is as good as it gets. I don't think he is as essential this week. I just don't think... given their now ladder position, backing up from Origin, already having the groin niggle, I'm not sure if he will back up. But as of next week, he's as must get as it comes, I think, for the run home. Like I just touched on, their run's amazing. His game is so suited. If he gets the goal kicking back, he'll be averaging 85 plus for the run home. He's an absolute must. So, he's probably a heaven and earth guy over in the next fortnight.
Yeah, even if he doesn't play this week, the ball projections have got him averaging 91.6 on the run home, which is well clear of the next couple of options. Dan, those couple of options, as I said, they're both nearly 70% owned. Hughes and Nicho Hynes. You spoke about the flex earlier and utilizing that for someone like Cleary. I really, really like that, especially if I'd be moving on someone like Paps. But in a bubble or in isolation, who do you think is the better keeper out of Hughes and Hynes, if that was your call that you had to make either this week or next?
I've been probably in camp Hynes for, if you ask me, start of the year. Like, obviously Hynes was, well above. Hughes on the weekend, I brought Jahrome Hughes in for his 55. Was a little bit disappointed, but also watching the game, he still was so dominant in that half position. And I feel his dominance is much more for Melbourne than what Hynes' dominance is for the Sharks now. Like, they're looking to Trindle for kicks. Hynes is taking a little bit of a back foot step. He still does have the goal kicking. Like, I'm just talking myself through here. I still have no idea. I am very keen on having all three of them and probably use it as a little bit of a, here you go, boys, in the Supercoach side, over the next 3 rounds, see who wins. And then probably drop the one who's not performing out of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty firmly in the Hynes camp. The Sharks have just got a great run coming up. You mentioned that that they're sort of looking to Trindle a bit more. I actually think that Hynes has been the main man, and they play Dolphins, Roosters, Souths, Cowboys, Dragons, Titans before their bye in 25. Runs just don't get a lot better than that in 2025. He has the goal kicking for the floor. Hughes has, like you said, Dan, he has been quite dominant in terms of running the team, but I do think on any given day, like, we're just going to see different chefs turn up for the Storm. And we saw that on the weekend, even with Meaney, who obviously got all the points from fullback. Hughes took a somewhat of a back seat with a 55 from an output perspective. I think Hughes can get it done on any day. And I think I heard this actually on the I can't remember what part. It might have been the Sponge on the Physio's podcast, just around, you're never going to captain Hughes or vice captain him. And you may want to do that with Nicho on some of these matchups. Not for sure, but I think there's a very good chance that if Nicho was to come out and ton up against the Finns, then he immediately becomes a captain option in some of those fixtures, Souths, Cowboys, Dragons, Titans. So for that reason, we've got Hynes projected higher over the period too by about 10 points on the run home versus Hughes. So with that in mind, I think Hynes is the better hold. And I'm going to wait and see. I doubt I'll get Cleary this week. If I would get him, it'd be for Paps in the flex. And I would encourage the listeners and the viewers to try and use that flex to advantage as much as possible there, because Cleary, Hughes, and Hynes could easily outscore the third best fullback there. So definitely a key option. Who else we got to talk about at halfback, boys? I think that there's not much else doing. I think we might move down now to the 2RF. What's that?
Just one thing I was going to say. This week it's particularly hard because you've got Nicho Hynes and Jahrome Hughes playing the first 2 games, and then Cleary is the second last game. So it could be up in the air whether Cleary is playing or not. So I think that would deter a lot of people from not picking him up because of just the uncertainty of it. But you could take an absolute flyer on it and get ahead of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, it's a disaster because Hynes plays first game, Hughes plays second game. So you can't sell those guys. And so Cleary's not until it's more than 24 hours, I think, between Cleary's game and Hughes. Like when Hughes runs out at 3 p.m. Saturday, Cleary's not running out until 4 p.m. So final teams aren't even out. 24-hour cuts aren't even done by the time the Storm kick off. So very risky move. And look, I have to suggest it's more likely than not he doesn't goal kick this week with that groin niggle. So I think we can have a look. It's obviously a great fixture versus the Eels with no Moses. But I think it's a bit more of a wait and watch. And one thing I will say more broadly from a gameplay perspective is just it worked out so well for me on the weekend, reacting to that information with Paps out and being flexible to go to Meany. Don't get too locked into what your plan is going to be, and just see how things play out on the weekend, and just take on the information that comes over the weekend, and then try to make the best decisions. I know it can be hard, lots going on, busy lives and whatnot, but there is a lot of good information that comes over the weekend, and being able to be responsive to it is critical in SuperCoach, especially with head-to-head finals just around the corner. All right, 2RF, Christopher. Gus Crichton, 584K. He's backing up from Origin. 4.8% owned, 3.7% purchased. He's popular this week, break even of 51. I'm just going to I've got a stat here, Chris, that I want to run you through just while I search 2RF at the top of the player stats table. 3-round base plus power average for Gus. Let's have a look. All right. 67.3. Now that's up on his season average of 60.6. He has got no attack, Gus, all season. I think he's got 1 try or no tries. He does look like he's coming into a bit of form at the right time of year for Supercoaches. At that price, it looks like a steal. I suppose the question is he the right option? You've probably only got 1 or 2 more trades to make it to RF.
Yeah, I think that's the big issue. Whether you've locked into what you've got, or whether you've got enough trades to be able to go to Gus, because in isolation, I really like him at the price. He's not well owned this year. That base plus power, a 3-round average it's really good to see, because, like you say, there hasn't been those attacking stats for him this year. I think last year had obviously breakout season rugby league wise, but also Supercoach. He was the best second rower in the game, I thought, last year. So I think he can get back to those heights. I don't know. I just don't know if I've got the trades to make that work. But if you're needing someone in your second row, I think he's a great option. I really do. They've had their buys. If it gets through Wednesday night, okay. I really don't mind it at all.
The thing I like about Gus, Dan, obviously the price is right. Sammy Walker back this week. Now, Sandon Smith's been kind of floating both sides. Hugo Savala parked on the right. Maybe Sandon hasn't really been it's been a bit water and oil for those two. Could we expect to see Gus getting a bit more nice ball there and his attacking prospects up? Because these underlying numbers now are really suggesting that Gus could be really about to hit his straps from an output perspective.
Yeah, I think that's 100% correct. Sammy Walker has so many options in attack. Like, he's obviously got his huge, Harbour Bridge cutout pass to the winger. His kicking game is erratic, and he can do anything at any one time. He loves a second tackle chip over the top. So it just puts defenders on edge a lot more. And I feel like Angus is going to benefit from that greatly, right? So he dummies the long one, goes short to Angus. Like, Angus not having any attack, under 600K, but averaging base plus power of 60 for the full season. Like, it's an absolute steal this week. As you alluded to, like, where do you put him? Most teams are fully stacked in the second row. I had a look this week. I feel you could probably swing someone like Kaloa Matangi to Angus Crichton and net 100K. I don't actually mind that. If that then frees up 100K for you to top up a premium elsewhere, I'd probably be all for that. What I'm not for is overstacking second row forward. I think max you want premium, high premiums is 4. I wouldn't go for that 5th or 6th premium, just with the plethora of already stacked forwards.
We can talk about him more as a sell, Dan, but what about like a Joey Taps? Would that be similar boat? Would you like Joey Taps is probably more of a sell than Kaloa Matangi, isn't he? I think you could very easily. What's his price at the moment, Taps? I guess it's just then the value. 593.
Yeah, see, that's you're not making as much cash out of that trade. I think you're making about 30K, 30, 40K. So
I'm just never ever going to feel comfortable playing Taps, where I'm more than happy to play Kaloa Matangi.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think, Crichton, looking at those 3, you'd be playing Crichton over both of them consistently every week. So, don't mind that as a swing.
Chris, another guy who's sitting pretty high up on this base plus power, as we've sorted this by base plus power 3-round average, Billy Kicks, 70.3. That's versus a season average of 55 base plus power. We did the watch along Friday night, which was a lot of fun. And he looked good. He scored that try. Obviously, was that off a charge down or no? It was a non-line break try.
Yeah, it was an online. I can't remember exactly.
Can't remember.
Yeah, he just fell on the ball from memory.
He scored a try, but those base plus power numbers are seriously impressive. I do feel like Billy Kicks has got 120 around the corner at some point very soon.
Yeah, I hope that's the case as well, having brought him in last week. Look, I think there was probably some teething problems between him and Galvin, which didn't enable him on the weekend to push further forward and get a bigger score. So Matt Burton coming back to 5'8", the old gang back together. Maybe on the weekend he'll kick into gear a bit more, but I think he punched out nearly a 70 on the weekend with a non-line break try. But I really like what I've seen from Kikau. I brought him in on the weekend, like I said. Previously, I've been a little bit worried about him because he tends to go in and out of games. This year, I'm seeing him more honed in for the whole 80 minutes. So I actually really, really like Billy Kicks, and like you say, I do think he has that upside.
Yeah, He's a little bit more awkwardly priced now versus like a Crichton. I'm not too concerned about money, but I'm going to have a good think about those guys just as to who projects through. Even Hudson Young, who has the bye this week, he's obviously dealing with that osteitis pubis as well. We're going to do a big Q&A show Thursday post Origin. We'll do that Thursday afternoon so that we can sort of get the fallout from Origin. But Hudson Young is probably that more premium guy. He's been the best performed 2RF this year. So it's really hard for that. You really got to dig deep into what you want in your 2RF. As Dan mentioned, most people are pretty stacked. So really making that last call, this is really the last trade you want to make at 2RF. So it's a big one. Just on a couple of sells here, guys. The Raiders boys, Horsburgh and what's his name? Zach Hosking. Let's just get them up on the screen. Let's start with Hosking because he's had a couple of good weeks. Players with projection. That's why they're not playing this week. Raiders. All right. There we go. Right at the top, both of them. Horse is back a bit. Base plus power, 3-round average, 64.7. His minutes are back. Zach Hosking, 64.3 base plus power, 3-round average. Dan, I'll start with you. Are either of these guys possible sells that you'd be pretty happy to move on? Have they done their job through that bye period, and now they're obviously on the bye this weekend?
Yeah, they're both easy sells in my mind. They're both, they're probably like 19th, 20th, 21st man even for your run home. Like you could hold them there, but both priced over that 500, and there's lots of options now. Like if you can swing Zach Hosking straight across to Angus Crichton, easy trade this week. So I don't think either of them you're playing in the run home unless you're getting hampered by injury elsewhere. So both can be very much moved on this week. Horsburgh did a tremendous job for holders if they've held him through the whole year. But yeah, it's time to go for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Chris, you in the same boat there? Or
yeah, totally agree, and particularly on Hosking to Crichton. And I always worried about the Raiders' forward minutes as well. I mentioned it on the snap. You've got big Josh Papali'i coming back from Origin. You've got Hudson Young who'll be back. You've also got Matty Nicholson. So I still don't know what that rotation is going to look like. I'm moving Joey Taps on this week just because I'm not confident in playing him anymore. And I think you'd feel the same way about both of those guys.
Yeah, Taps didn't look too happy in the presser on the weekend. He was actually lucky to get back on. It was only because the Dragons came back at them that he put Taps back on. He was just going to give him that initial 25, 30-minute stint, which is just too... I feel like if the Raiders were in a bit more bother, like for top four, but I just feel like they're going to have a cruisy run in now. Ricky's spoken about giving more minutes to guys like Mariota, Simi Sasagi, Morgan Smithies, get these blokes ready, battle ready for finals, where Taps is their main man. They can wrap him in cotton wool. He might give him some games between 30 minutes and 50 minutes, and that just kills him. His PPM is sensational. It's been like 1.4 or something. So I just feel like I'm never ever going to feel comfortable playing Taps, and that might come back to bite me, no doubt. But I'm happy to move him on. Let's just segue that down into the into the front row forward now, fellas. And we've spoken enough about Taps. I've made it pretty clear that I think I'm going to plan to sell him. I think he can hold, but no rush. Just if you need someone to move on, he's the man. Tino Fasuamau-Aui, Dan, 573K. He's been a popular sell the last few weeks. He's been carrying a sternum injury. He's come out and said, no bother, I'm all good to go now. Of course, he's going to say that pre-origin. I really, really hope he backs up because the Terrace crew need him. And he has to back up for the Titans. He's their captain. He's their main man, and they need him. He's 573K, so zero value to sell. But I still feel like we could be sitting here in a month going, geez, we all wish we sold Tino back at the buy period.
Yeah, we could be doing the opposite though. Like we could be saying a 570K Tino was an absolute steal. Like maybe this week, last week of backing up from Origin. Yeah, I'm not expecting miracles and going, 80 plus, but I'm certainly happy I've got him for the back end. It's going to save me not a trade by not getting him out. Jewel is unbelievable. He could be a purchase back end of year if the likes of Terrell May or Payne Huss go down as well. And I'd be very comfortable running him in the front row number 1. So, yeah, for people who still own him, I wouldn't be swinging him to Angus Crichton. I think both of them can average each other for the back end of year. Very different to the likes of a Zach Hosking or a Horsburgh. And you're not making any money. They're both similarly priced. So I think if you've got Tino like myself, I haven't looked at selling him this week. Hold on. And maybe over the next few rounds, if he's looking back from that sternum injury, could be a nice little downgrade pickup on the run home.
Just to quantify that impact of that sternum injury as well, and his minutes haven't been too far down. They've been a little bit down, but his base plus power average for the season is 63.8, so it would have been higher than that. And his 3-round base plus power average 48.7, so 15 points down. It's actually more if you were to take those games out because he was averaging higher than that. It was up closer to 70. So 20 points worth of impact there just in base plus power, and we know his attacking output goes down as well. So, I'm definitely giving him this week. Hopefully we can see some minutes and hopefully we can see some improved output from Tino. But I think your points there, Dan, were really well made. I'm going to hold him as front row 3 and second row 5, basically, like to be able to flip up and down between there. And, I'm going to sell Tapine before him just because I know Tino is going to be on the field come the back end of the year, where I don't think we can say that for Taps. And I'm just going to hope and pray that we can see him improve the output. Up to the sort of other premium Chris, who's been a little underwhelming, you could say, is Addin Fonua-Blake. I know you were an owner. Are you still an owner?
Yeah, was an owner. Moved him on, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I got myself in a predicament where I had May, Haas, Taps, and AFB, which was a horrible play, and in hindsight was something I really wish I hadn't done. So I'd moved him on 2 weeks prior. There's just better options in different positions this year. But yeah, that base plus power, his numbers look pretty good around the 60 mark. His minutes have popped up and down during the year without great consistency. But I just think Terrell May, Payne Haas, they're getting the job done. And then you've got these guys like Tino, like Kaloa-Matangi now, who you can move up and down to cover. So I really think at front row, you just go with the 2 big boys if you've got that cover with those 2 other dual boys.
Yeah, I think if you own him, he's a strong hold. So Sharks need to rally. He's 617K now, so we just can see there he's got a pretty his base plus power has been relatively consistent. 63 season, 64 3-round, 61 5-round. So his minutes do fluctuate a bit, but he's always there to plug a hole if they get an injury in game. He can sometimes get up to 70 minutes. I think he's the perfect third front row forward, and he can do a job for those who don't own Payne Haas. That's your front row number 2. Am I rushing to buy him? No, I don't think you need to buy him. You must be set up pretty well already, but I think he's a pretty strong hold. Dan, where do you sit on that AFB front?
Yeah, I'm an owner, and I'm very happy to own him, actually. I think Sharks' attack has been woeful the last month. We know he can get over for attack. They've got a great run coming up. He doesn't need the attack to still average well. And as you said, teams under pressure, Sharks are definitely one of them. Like I'll be anticipating he's playing 60 minutes plus consistently for the back end of the season. So 617K, if we said AFB was that price at the start of the year, he would have been in everyone's team. So hoping for a big bounce back. As you said, though, with these other options around that 550 to 580K mark, you might look to pick those guys up over AFB because you've got Jahrome and Payne Haas. But certainly, definitely. I mean, I'm holding on, and I think everyone should if they still have him.
Yeah, he might even become an option as a purchase depending on injuries to May or Haas. Just on Haas there, Chris, he's 727K, 77% owned in the top 10%. I think probably 2 weeks ago was probably the week to buy him, even though he only scored 45. With the buy on the horizon next week, we know that he's getting a jab just to get through Origin 3. He's got some sort of referred back pain that's impacting his groin. I don't know. We can have a chat to the physio on Friday night about it. Or Dan, we can have a chat to you now if you know anything about it. But I can't get around purchasing Haas. I just hope to God he turns up this week. And then with the Bronx on the buy next week, it's probably you're targeting around 21 if you're a non-owner.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. There's no need to rush him in this week if you don't own. It would be nice to get some clarity on what's going on. Madge is not the kind of coach who's going to wrap him up in cotton wool if he does back up this weekend. So those who own, it's a fine play, but I can't see him getting huge minutes or huge output backing up from Origin. So yeah, definitely after the buy if you're a non-owner. Have a look then if need be.
Down to hooker, boys, to round out our positional analysis. And big going on a hooker. Sandon Smith not named in the Roosters' top 17 this week, which I think is a relief because for those who don't need to rush moving him on, he's not a clear. You don't have to sell him this week. He's obviously a clear sell now. I'll be moving him on and looking at the two main options who are on everyone's list. Let's just get the ownership up here. We're looking at Harry Grant, 594K, break even of 79. He's not named to start for the Storm, but he's in the reserves and may come into the team. Highly unlikely that Cam Munster will back up. And Connor Watson, 613K, 60 break even, 25% owned. Dan, Connor has not played a lot of footy. We see the Roosters blooding these young hookers. Docker Clay is the one on the bench. They've dropped Benny Oielu. And obviously Sandon's gone. I think Connor still has a good role to play at lock there. Robbo loves him. He hasn't played much footy. I think he's the clear standout unless you want to go a bit more pod with Harry.
Yeah, I think you've said it all there. I really like Watson. Obviously, the Roosters do too. They want him out on the field pretty much for 80 minutes all the time and floating into that lock position. You know, he's just going to churn out big base and he's a bit more attacking. There's a bit more attacking upside when he goes into that lock position as well. He tends to get the offloads or a few try assists. So I'm bringing him in this week pending, other issues that might happen after Origin.
Yep.
I may also, just anyone who does own Smith, probably look at your numbers for this week because you can take another AE this week and maybe wait on Watson or Grant and make that decision next week. So that's what I'm also looking because there's a few other pressing trades to make. But yeah, certainly a great option this week. Harry Grant, I think, is a great pod option. It probably comes down to how many Storm numbers you have in your team and how much you want to risk it for the back end of season that there's not going to be mass restings for the Storm.
Yeah, I'm really, really worried about Storm restings. I actually meant to say that about Jahrome Hughes. He might get a rest at some point as well. They got Wishart who can fill in any of these spine positions at a pinch. I liked Harry before I thought about that. Now that they're sort of locked into top 4, I wouldn't be shocked. That's basically the Storm's aim every year. Get top 4, make sure they win that first game, get a home prelim, and then they're in the grand final. I think it's going to be the same again. I think they'll give their stars a rest. It's been and even with this Munster news now of his dad passing, like it's a very emotional time. They've had a big season. They had a pretty tough start to the year. I am enjoying the bellyache. There's more coverage of Bellamy in the coach's box than the Storm playing footy this year, and I'm all for it. So it's like, I don't know, Chris, how do you feel about Harry Grant just generally as an option, sort of all the Storm overload aside?
Yeah, I think Connor's the clear cut out of those two. I just do. I just think his output this year's been probably far and away greater than Harry's. He's probably averaging nearly 10 more points. And that want for the Roosters to keep him on the field is probably where that's at. So if he gets a rest, he still goes into the middle, right? So, the mass restings for the Storm isn't just a worry. It's going to happen. They're going to finish top 4. They're probably going to finish top 2, which I think they can do with their extended squad. So I couldn't be picking Harry up for those reasons. You're going to get the weeks where it hurts you, not only, definitely, but over the course of the run home, I think Connor Watson is clear cut a better option.
Yeah, and there's team dependency stuff there as well. Like, I'll just be running Starling now as my second hooker. He can obviously be plugged in any given week. So as long as Harry doesn't get injured, then being able to, if Harry does get a rest, then being able to plug someone like Starling in is pretty good going. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm not making any call. Talon de Silva's come into reckoning, although he's on the bench. So just having a look at him, don't worry about him at 215K. And then I think that's about it at hooker. You got your pod options for those who jumped on Blake Brayley. He's 618K now. You can see he's got a ball projection of 57 in 80 minutes there. So he's been outperforming that the last few weeks. And then someone like Irish Kurt O'Donoghue with a ball projection of 50. His role has been very friendly for SuperCoach. So we shall see. Plenty to play out at hooker position as the year goes on. All right, boys. We're not going to go through captain's today, but we are going to do pod of the week. And I'm sorry if you're a bit on the spot here. Let me know if you want to find one, because I've got one ready to go. But I'll start with you, Dan.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't talk about him at 2RF, but the big man, David Fafita, back on the bench for the Titans.
Wow.
Fully fit. The pressure that Des is under, he might just put these grievances aside and go, David, it's time. 65 minutes. Come off the bench early and just run ragged against the Broncos this week. We know he loves to show up when he's got a bit of a challenge. So the challenge of Payne Haas and Pat Carrigan this week, I think Davey Boy Fafita's in for a monster.
We certainly know what he can do. I'm not sure from the bench. I think we can wait. We can wait a week and see. But I am excited to see big Fafita back. Chris, how about you? Pod of the week.
Yeah, look, mine has got some serious caveats on it. He's currently nursing a couple of injuries. He's playing Wednesday night, but Brian To'o at 2.5% ownership with that run over the next month. How can you not be looking at him? When he is up and about, his base plus power is usually like through the roof, and playing in a great Panthers side, the attacking stats are there as well. So I think To'o is a great option. And particularly a great pod at 2.5% ownership.
610K. If he does turn up for the Panthers, obviously that's got to be a big question mark.
Yeah, there's few caveats as aforementioned. But
as aforementioned. But he's got a, like we can see here, if he does start, his projection is 77.8. So he's a great option for the run home, and he'll be pod, and people should stay off him because of that injury niggle. So don't mind that at all. My pod of the week is Isaiah Yeo. Now, most will probably laugh a bit at that. He's 550K. The baller projections have got him 72 points projected for the rest of the season. We know that he can pick up attack in attack-conducive games, good matchups. And I think if you're sort of looking for someone that you can just plug in every week, come out, play 80 minutes, do a job. He's not going to get you tons, but he is going to consistently get you good scores. And if we look at his base plus power, we can see you're looking at a base plus power average of 58 over the past 3 rounds and of the season, which is high. That's more points in base plus power than he's already priced at. So if he can jag some of that as attacking stats, try assist, line assist that we know he can, he's going to be exceptional value for the run home in that tricky second row slot. So, yeah, I'll go with you.
It feels like that's a top 10 kind of pod move. That one, just lock up some
safe.
points.
It feels a
nice
safe
security
pod move,
blankets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It
you can
is-
see
it
the
is
mentality that changes when you're currently top 10.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It is interesting though, like that whole. I mean, it's so prevailing now that it's like you want to chase these guys with upside in these positions. But when we're talking over a 10-week period for what we've got left in the season, we're exactly on the 10 rounds to go mark now. You got to come out. You want it if you're buying a guy now who's staying in the team to the end of the year. I don't care if he scores 110 one week and then ends up averaging 65. You want Isaiah Yeo, who's going to average 75 on the way home, 750 points here on out. It's perfect. And I think that's realistically what he could average. So, I don't think you should sleep on him. That's probably the point.
Sure. I'm listening. Don't worry. It's nothing against you.
Yeah.
Didn't have to
All
explain
good.
yourself.
All good. Now, guys, don't forget, get out there and follow us. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in live on YouTube. We've had some good viewing numbers here. And make sure you tune in for the Q&A pod on Thursday. Get your questions in. We'll put out a call to action for that. Get around Young GI, go Shibasaki, go the New South Wales Blues, and join the Run Home Challenge. Still got a week and a half to get involved, but get in there early now. We've got over 300 or 400 people in there now already. It's a great way to try and win $7,000. Your odds are good, so make sure you get involved. Thank you to producer Gramsy in the background. Chris, thank you for joining us.
No, it was great fun. Thanks for having me, guys. Big game tomorrow night, so hopefully not too many injuries. The Blues win, and I'll be a very happy man. And go Shiba. Come on, Young GI. Cross that stripe for us.
Come on, Young GI. And Dan, I'm hoping to still be in the top 10 come next week, but if I have to run out Oren Keeley, it could be tough.
Yeah, I mean, you've lucked out so far with Oren Keeley, so you'll probably bink you 70 and you're well on your way to the top 5. Next stop.
What a beauty. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you next week. Cheers.
You're guilty.